Welcome to the IR Digital Podcast, a part of IR Global, the largest international professional services network. I'm your host of the IR Digital Podcast, Jennifer Riggins. Today, we are sitting down with Bob Brewer, VP of Business Development at Braumiller Law Group and Braumiller Consulting Group. We're going to discuss the art of staying out of trouble with customs. Please, before we begin, Bob, can you introduce yourself to those listening today?
Sure. That's pretty much it. I handle the marketing and new business development for both Braumiller Law Group and Braumiller Consulting Group for probably the past 20 years. But Matt started doing this at 14.
Of course. You're just going to have your right to drink in America soon. So before we continue, I always like to ask, who do you think would benefit from listening to this conversation?
Well, anybody who's doing business with cross-border transactions around the globe could benefit from this. Honestly, it's what we do on a daily basis. International trade compliance. That's our thing. No other practice area. That's it.
And when you say international trade compliance, are you only talking about physical products or also like SaaS products and things?
I'll just get to the software. They're anything that cross-border, like I said, when it comes to it.
Okay. So what does the current landscape look like in international trade right now?
Well, I said in a podcast recently with Adrian, the world is on fire right now. That's the globe goes international trade. It's like, oh my God. You have to be somewhat optimistic, though. You really do. Because that's a loaded question. With current, geopolitical climate, if I were focused on one thing, I think this is the most important. It's the meeting with Xi Jinping the other day with Biden in that suburb in San Francisco. Actions, of course, they're going to speak louder than words post-meeting. But the two economic superpowers, they really do need to find a way to kind of make things work. The relationship, it's been strained and actually somewhat hostile for the past couple of years. Remember, back in 2016, Trump put those Section 301 tariffs in place, and that they're still here. Forced labor now has also become a huge issue. So counterfeit goods, re-engineering, that's all kind of taken a back seat. But China is kind of recognized a substantial decline in foreign investment, and Xi is under a lot of pressure to answer the call, even with the current economy there. But hey, keep this in mind. It was $40,000 for executives in the U.S. to sit down and have dinner with Xi the other night, and that table was full immediately. So, U.S. The CEOs. So I don't know, but I'll tell you what, I really hope that something would come of this meeting.
So what are the different issues you have with considering this whole landscape when making mistakes regarding compliance? Is the biggest issue?
It's all about due diligence. I'll go by what I think is most common. Companies just misclassify when they want to get, product into the U.S. There's an HTS, harmonized tariff system that we use, and they get that wrong. Honestly, we probably file what's called a dozen prior disclosures in any given month, discovering this in their supply chain. They decide, what am I going to do? Am I going to put on the mitigation hat, and file a prior disclosure with a firm, or, I'm going to put on a boot and try to hide from customs. If you do that and customs finds out that, it looks intentional, they discover it, penalties like 10 times that. It really is. No one pops in my head is country of origin. The slightest element in the manufacturing process could dictate the actual location. I will say, though, that, you think, why China, there are bad actors out there that are trying to get around country of origin. Mainly, China, but it's easy to source there. But China gets in the way. Even when the manufacturing plant is, let's say, Malaysia, Vietnam, wherever. If you're still sourcing from China, it's made in China. So substantial transformation comes into play. We run into this a lot. And then the last thing pops in my head is misinterpretation of regulations per country. This is huge, but I'll leave that to the attorneys, Jennifer, and Braumiller Law, because it's a whole separate podcast. They do change. You got to keep up with this. This includes sanctions. Think of countries even like Russia, Iran, North Korea. Need I say more there?
Okay. And then how do people then prepare to change this? Are people experts in this that within organizations, or do they typically rely on partners?
It allows firms like us to know what's going on, to constantly stay on top of the regulations and any change. That's the crux of our business.
Where are you looking to stay on top of? Where do you have partners or counterparts in other countries?
There's publications that come out like the International Trade on a daily basis. You know, in between all of our billable hours, as you say, it's our job to read. We read a lot to stay on top of everything that's coming out from the government. So that's fed out through large organizations within the trade community to us that we subscribe to. You could, if you wanted to, you could read for 24 hours a day on things that are going on with regulations just to stay up to date around the globe. I watch a little CNN too.
Okay, it does sound a bit dry, but do you actually see, especially for those that are listening, we're recording this on November 17th. Just yesterday, Xi Jinping and President Biden met for 4 hours, I believe. So do you actually see China and the U.S. easing tensions anytime soon?
Like I said, man, I'd really like to be optimistic about this. That I've written several articles on the subject of the past 2 years alone on this. It's a damn shame, really, that the two most robust colonies on the planet cannot work together, cooperative work on the planet. I personally think that the U.S. should extend an olive branch right now and get rid of the Section 301 tariffs. Xi himself said just the other day that there's enough room on the planet for both countries to compete and ultimately succeed. At the same time, President Biden was calling him a dictator. Ouch. There was a video of Blinken cringing on that, but, it's going to take action more than words, and friction daily Austin in the South China Sea doesn't help. And the inevitable reunification of Taiwan, straight from Xi's lips to everyone looms large. I tell you what, that is a deal breaker.
And that would dramatically affect everything involving international trade, since Taiwan is a huge trading partner.
I mean, that's just insane to me to think that he would follow through with that. But hey, I didn't think Russia would actually follow through with the invasion of Ukraine, but here we are.
We live in highly unpredictable times at a time when supposedly AI is predicting a lot. It doesn't seem to predict human behavior at all.
It's still, the AI to me is still the infant in the machine. It's learning. It's still learning. Because humans.
Exactly. It's learning from us, and we still don't know yet.
I know. Really.
So on the Braumiller website, you had a recent article about the legal framework governing IMEX or EMEX operations. So first, let's define that term, and let's talk about how it affects nearshoring in Mexico, et cetera.
Well, I mean, straight from, our council, our Mexico council lips, this is generally companies that awarded with an IMH program are allowed to temporarily import into Mexico raw materials, components, inputs, whatever parts, including machinery, equipment, to elaborate, transform, or repair finished product for further export or return abroad. Okay, so this program is for companies actually located in Mexico, which operate under the so-called customs regime for temporary importation of merchandise, for the elaboration, like I said, transformation, repair, blah, 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 it's exports. But I do, however, think, rather than me, Bob Brewer, getting delving deep into this, that you really should read, if you have a chance to yourself, client. Our Mexico Legal Counsel just wrote an article on it that was in our November 2023 newsletter. Matter of fact, I referred to it in my article. Now, see, this is Brenda Cordova and then Francisco de la Cruz. They are experts in the matter. Matter of fact, Francisco, who's the counsel to Braumiller Law, he worked for the Mexican government on the other side of the desk in the process of auditing. He's done at least 1,000 IMEX audits on this. And there's always a problem, Every one of them. I think the Mexican government just bumped 100 from the program last month based on some violations. He works for Braumiller Law now as a counsel. Last count that I checked, how many were there? Like 6,141 IMEX. But when you think about the data, let's say, and I'm trying to get my product from China into the United States, and man, am I tired of this forced labor and tired of these Section 301, tariffs. How do I look at the what I was talking in my article about nearshoring. If I was manufacturing in Mexico, this would make things so much easier, so much easier. And my article covered a lot of that. The increasing labor costs in China versus working in Mexico. If let's say 55-60% of your merchandise ends up in the U.S. anyway, you really might want to think about this Mexico endeavor here.
It would also be much better for the planet, better for human rights. Like, there are benefits that are really good, but also it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So what does IMEX actually mean, though? What does that stand for? Is that International Something Mexico?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there are 5 different modalities when you want to think about breaking this down about manufacturing here. But this explanation for each one of those to define that further, I'm going to defer again to Brenda and Francisco. Just read the article. It tells you everything you want to know in this little article. Because I tell you what, I've been on, oh gosh, a lot of new business calls with this. And there are just a lot of things that come into play when considering it. And quite frankly, the Mexican government needs to loosen up a little bit, like I said in the article, because they were kind of making it really hard to get into an IMEX manufacturer. But they're loosening up, she said. Brenda, I was talking to Brenda the other day. She said it's getting better because there's money at stake. I was saying, America, follow the Benjamins. Follow the money. And that's where you will find solutions and why things move the way that they move. But yeah, I defer to that on this there subject matter.
And we will definitely include a link to that article in the description. So please check that out in the description when you obviously like and subscribe to this podcast. Is there anything else I should be asking you about?
Jennifer, I've been around the business for we're 20 years. I know enough to be more than dangerous. Even with all of my higher global counterparts, are you a lawyer? No, I'm actually the marketing guy, new business development. But, being in on a lot of these new business meetings has helped me learn over the years. Writing articles has helped me do the research that I had to do even sound remotely intelligent, But I've put 28 articles out on Mind.jd Super over the past couple of years, and I'm still, even though I'm not an attorney, I am a top 2 author within the firm. Matter of fact, I won an award with Mondac. Had to pat myself on the back there. It was about a year ago. I wrote an article on the dual circulation policy within China. Don't. This is a whole different podcast in itself. China is my favorite subject. It really is, because the way the U.S. and the way China moves, the planet is going to move. And like we said, we could just work this out, to the benefit of both. And the China needs to step up too. They really do. Like I said, the Taiwan thing, that's not going to be good. But in the meantime, there's several other things that we could be doing from the trade perspective to show the world that this is how it can be. Because we're picking sides now, kind of,
And as a fellow marketeer, etc., your job will be very important for any marketers need to know these things too, because if people mess up on their customs, they're going to need their marketing team and the external PR team, et cetera, to know how to respond. So belittle the value of marketers that have a domain expertise.
Yeah, I mean, my job, I just tell them, I say, hey, kids, I'm here to support you on a daily basis. But, we're going to get out there, as you know, with content. We're going to do the podcast. We're going to do the webinar. You learn how to write. People need to understand your particular area of expertise, as a matter of fact. And that's my job I see on a daily basis, just like with you, Jennifer. I mean, content is king.
Or queen.
Or queen. That's right. And our global, I want to mention that our global, this shot that, we're based in Dallas with, offices in Washington, D.C., and L.A., and obviously our Mexico Council. But our global is a huge portion of us being an extension internationally. We need an attorney who does what we do in Costa Rica. I can go right on the website and find us. So that's been a great asset for us over the last few years as well.
That's super important. And now I've only recently learned, after years of doing this podcast, that a percentage of pretty much everyone's membership fee goes to help Indigenous people fight the good cause for protecting the environment, which is a very fair and wonderful thing it does.
Tom's huge into that. Great guy, great guy. This IR Global group, to me, they're just, sharp people. I mean, even working with Rachel over there, I mean, she and I have been, head to head for, I think, about the last 5 years now we've been with the program, so to speak. But there now, I'm just now a little divulged. I'm doing the digital campaign with them and sponsorship for 2024. So you're really going to see that Braumiller Law Group, Braumiller Consulting Group name out there, as they're now part of my team.
Right, so on top. Yeah, really. And network. If our listeners want to touch base, especially before they get to listen to all that and after they get to listen to all that great content, and they want to learn about you, they want to get in touch with the international trade, legal services and support, or if they have any questions, what's the best way to get in touch?
I'll tell you what, when we edit this, we'll put up the URLs to the website because, honestly, you've done my due diligence there. Anywhere you want to go, our site, whether it's the law side or the consulting side, you don't always need an attorney. You'll find articles that we've written about various hot topics as well as our services area. Heck, I've even got our videos out there that we've done, or podcasts that you could tap into on the media page. And if you get to the point where you look through, let's say, our services and you're something that's of interest to you that you want to learn more about, there's a button on our website that you just click on and it's submit your project. And it comes right into my inbox. And what I do is I always know where Adrienne Braumiller is on any given day at any time. So I ping her. My job is to get in touch with that individual, let them know, got your message and all the information that you filled out on this particular gravity form, it's called. I know that we can assist you, and I do that I'm pretty good about getting to it right in the first hour domestically, and about 10 hours, internationally, because I gotta get some sleep. But I've always got a cell phone in my hand, or I'm at my computer, so I respond quickly. Then we set up an initial consult for you. This is about 30 minutes. It's no charge. But we can kind of get around get to the details of what you're really looking for. Then Adrienne, she pulls in whatever attorneys has the bandwidth, expertise on that, and we're good to go. Like with any law firm, then if you're interested, we'll send you a retention agreement. So you can look at the work process of what we've said, the estimate on the hours that are needed. And we even include a rate sheet. So, what's this going to cost us? Outside of what we've said what the work's going to entail, you can kind of get an idea on that as well. But it gives you a full look, at, pulling the trigger. Or not. Why not?
Okay, so braumillerlaw.com to start a conversation, it sounds like, with a trusted partner who has zero work-life balance.
No, that is not true. Matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. Because we are the opposite of that kind of stuffy law firm. And Rachel with IR Global can attest to that, because I did a digital magazine to let everyone know the person side of everyone. Every attorney, every consultant had their own page in the magazine. And I asked them, I said, look, I'm going to put a little blurb in here about the bottom, but give me something personal about you. Wow. I found out we had sax players, drummers, guitarists, people who are into meditation. I mean, they actually got to know each other. Because that's kind of how we work, even with each other. We're like family. I mean, this work-life balance is really important to us. Because it always seems like, we're nose to the grindstone and everything. Yeah, we work hard. And sometimes we work long hours. But, we absolutely take that into consideration. We've had attorneys leave us, go to Washington, D.C., and nose to the grindstone there. You got to bill 140, 50 hours a month. And then they come back to us. Please, hit me back. I was wrong. Sometimes the money doesn't matter if you have no time to spend it or enjoy life. But, we're competitive even in that respect. It's important to us. I will say that.
Well, we also know happy workers are proven time and again more productive workers. So that's good to hear. Thank you so much, Bob.
Sure.
And thank you, listeners. These IR Digital podcasts are meant to be educational resources from experienced lawyers, accountants, financial advisors, these trusted advisors and those advisors like Bob here, with extensive knowledge on topics you as professionals that have an international mindset need to know more about. To learn more about IR Digital and its services, please visit irglobal.com. Then, if you found this episode useful, please consider sharing it. Thank you so much.